Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave. 6 feet deep under, but my body won't decay. Cause my messages are timeless, so they'll put them on display. Oh yeah, I rap with a certainty, I have a sense of urgency. A message for eternity, for everyone internally. I had some people burning me, but now they fucking learn to see I ain't the one to fuck with. Now they looking nervously, and I don't really care what you think of me respectfully. You can kick rocks if you think you're fucking better, see. I will outwork you, turn you to an enemy. Hurt you so bad that you're gonna need some therapy. I got the motherfucking recipe. I've been cooking up hits, I'ma leave a legacy. You'll be looking small when you're standing right next to me. I'm 5'10", bitch, but I'm 10 feet. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yeah, I'ma do it my way. Yeah, I'ma do it my way.
Welcome to my channel, your channel, our channel, where our thoughts and opinions become clear under the sun's view. So today, I wanted to get into a topic based on some conversation that I tuned into, and I thought it would be pretty interesting just to share my views on it. And it's, does a woman want to be used? Or does she want to be used and abused? Because based on the conversation that I was listening to, I think over time, and it's not even transition, let me find the word. Over time, we have gradually added on to our burdens. We've gradually added on to our issues. And it's now becoming very, very monumental. So initially, it would have started out with a religion, a religious war, religious conflicts, various denominations, trying to prove that they're the one that should hold the prominent position in life and society. Then we came across the feminine movement. Then we came up, well, even before the feminine movement, we had, I guess it would be the race war. So there was a war, per se, in terms of which race should be the dominant race, which race should hold the most prominent position in life. Then it moved on then to movements. So it's a feminine movement, and that was in light of women wanting to have equal rights and equal opportunities as the men do. Then we've gone into the LGBT community. So it's now persons wanting to make their form of gender or understanding of who or what they are, the prominent thing, the prominent idea, the prominent choice in society without any conflicts attached to it. Now I'm observing that the men have now stepped in, and it's seeming that we're now having a masculine movement without much of it even being stated out in the public. I have so often been listening to various podcasts, reading various ideas, and just storming through various conversations with people. And I'm observing that there is now a movement called, I call it, I don't know if there is something in fact out there, I haven't found it yet, but I am wanting to call it a masculine movement, because it's now a fight or a war or a battle as to whether or not men should hold a certain place in an affair, a partnership. Okay, so the woman initially with the feminine movement, they wanted to have the equal rights to men, equal opportunities, equal pay, and such. And now it's where the men are saying that the feminine, the women have now become so inclined to, I don't need a man, I don't want a man, I can do this on my own, I can do whatever he can do, I can do it too, sort of attitude. It's now that they're coming together, and it's as if they are totally against the fact that, or totally against the idea that a woman should be anything or should want to be anything like them, and more have more of a submissive nature to them rather than want to be in any type of competition with them. For me personally, that's ego right there. That's just egocentric. It's a part of the male's natural aura, so to speak, right? So I totally understand where they're coming from on that. What I cannot understand though is, and don't get me wrong, I'm not into the masculine movement, I'm not into the feminine movement, I'm not into this, none of these movements am I in agreement with, and in regards to what they are portraying currently. Perhaps the initial concept, the initial idea was a good thing. It did have some bearings to it and some emotional understanding to it and factual understanding to it as well. But over time, I think it has become, it has totally left what it initially started as or started to be, right? And it has just, it's going way, way, way out of proportion. Our world, it's, I think we're so lost, in my opinion. We're we're in such a state of confusion. We're in such a state of delusion, illusion, and it's it's just it's burdensome on the thought. It just makes living tremendously difficult, because nobody, I don't think nobody knows exactly who they are anymore, what they are, what their purpose is. I don't even think they ever knew what their purpose was. But at some point back in time, there was some type of an understanding, I assume, and it appeared to be going okay. But then something transitioned, something came in and just tore and broke everything apart. And this world is now walking on splinters, and everyone is in pain, everyone is hurt, and just in need of absolute healing. That is from my vantage point. Now, considering the conversation that I heard, where this man, this gentleman, was speaking and saying that women women don't want to be used. Now, for me personally, I I don't understand why it would be that a woman should give up herself, submit herself to being used. Nobody wants to be used. No man wants to be used. No woman wants to be used. Why is it that the woman should submit herself to being used by a man for his own pleasure? If she is going to give up, if she is going to give up, literally, because that's what submission is, she is going to give up to you. What are you or what is the man going to give up to her? So she agrees to give up, to be submissive. What is the man, what is the masculine figure going to then release onto her that she can hold as some contributing factor to her submission? I'm not seeing anything. So, yes, women, we seek security. I think that's first and foremost. And perhaps we seek it because of our frail nature, right? So the the level of strength, and I'm speaking physical strength right now. The level of physical strength that the man has, right? The woman, in my opinion, does not have that, right? She just does not have it. And that's where the woman would look to the man in terms of security, in terms of his physical strength. Somehow, this balance is way out of balance. The balance that is to be, it's just way out. And I'm I'm sounding a bit stuttery because I'm just trying to find the words in my head to put this all together, because I really just heard the conversation and decided, I really wanna express myself and say something in regards to this, because I totally feel, and based on the comments, when I went through the comments, I totally see that a lot of men were actually resonating with what this gentleman was saying, right? And then the women in the comments section, they were just totally against what he was saying. And it's interesting because I then observe the battle, as I mentioned, the feminine and the masculine battle that is being um that is taking place, that is happening. And it's scary. It is totally scary. Why is it scary? Because what the men feel is real, and what the women are feeling, it's also real. But how do we come to the point where we understand each other's feelings and try to come to some sort of, you know, solution to rectify it or to deal with it? How are we going to come to that when there is now a male and female battle ensuing? How? So it's literally now fire against fire. Who is bringing the water to the front line? No one. No one is bringing the water to the front line. And in my view, it's actually the woman that would have the water to bring to the front line. But because we've gone to this, we've been engrossed in this state of feminine and wanting to be just as the men are, that we are in a state where we are not going to back down under no circumstance whatsoever. And the men, they're already naturally built for no back down. They are built for war and to fight and to stand to the death of it. Okay, so it's we're literally dealing now with the unmovable force, and the force that simply is deciding that it ain't gonna move no matter what, because we've come too far to turn back now. Sort of mentality is taking place. It is serious. It is so serious, and it is so traumatic. And it's adding more issues to the various problems that we are already going through. There's literally no solution forthcoming. I can't. Well, I see the reason why it's happening. As I said, I see it and I feel it. And for men having their ego dismissed, having their ego trampled on, and this is their way of just lashing back. And I know from the woman's perspective that they've gone through this period of having men literally sitting and squeezing the life out of them because of this innate doctrine, this programming that we have gone through for centuries, decades, ages, thinking that women belong in this area of life and men belong in that area of life. Anything otherwise is against all rules and laws. Where is the balance going to come from? Where is the balance going to come from? Now, first we need to stop. We need to stop. And we need to look at ourselves individually. We need to see and understand, get back to that place where we see and we understand and we know who we are. Then again, how are we going to get back to that? Our communication it's off. The Internet of Things, it has literally crossed the line in terms of communication. Nobody communicates anymore, right? Nobody wants to let me talk, I listen, you speak, then you talk, I listen, and we try to then understand based on what we've heard, and to put that little puzzle together, and that is not taking place because everybody is now on the defensive. Whatever you say, it's defense. Whatever I say, it's the fence. And we're building the fence higher and higher and higher and higher and higher, but we're still throwing the darts through. It's a sad day. It's a sad time to sit and watch where all of this is coming from, to sit and watch where it is, and to sit and watch where it's going. Where is it going? I think we need to stop. We need to step back a bit, and we need to look at things from a much deeper, right? From a much deeper standpoint. The women are, they're just naturally built a certain way. Men, they're just naturally built a certain way. So the thing that a man can do, I don't think that a woman can do. I don't agree with it. And once this feminine movement step, as I said, it's constantly been an adding of issues and adding of issues. But for me, when the feminist movement started, right, this was like now an open door. It was an open door for anything else to come through. Because believe it or not, I still think that women are nurturers. Women are the caregivers. So the balance to all the problems and issues and frustrations and hurt and pain, I think it's the woman's energy that comes in and feeds that and stabilizes it. So when we need to build a house, if you need to build a house, you call upon the strength of a man. For certain critical things, you call upon the strength of a man. For certain emotional issues, you call upon the strength of the woman. And that's where the balance comes in, because the man builds the house. After he builds the house, he's tired, he's stressed. He's now not in a very good mental state because he has used up all of his energy. And that's where the woman now comes in for comfort. That's now where her energy lies. Right? The woman, when she's emotionally stressed, she can't do this, she's going through a certain situation. The man comes in as that critical figure, that support system, that security, to let her know, everything's going to be fine. I've got you. I've got this. What are you worried about? When he goes through his day and he's tired and stressed, she comes in and say, don't worry about it. I've got you. Nobody ain't having nobody anymore. Everybody is against everybody. It's crazy. Aren't we seeing it? Aren't we feeling it? So in reference to this gentleman who was saying that women want to use men, but they don't want to be used. That statement for me, if there is a pit of hell, comes from that very place. Why? Because nobody in their right state of mind wants to be used. No man wants to be used. And the reason why we're at this point is because the men have come to a conclusion that women want to use them, so they don't want to be used. And women have come to the conclusion that the men have been using them, so they don't want to be used either. So why would it be acceptable for one party to give up submission, to let go and give up, while the other party does what? What are you offering in return? The woman is going to bring her submission to the table. What is he going to bring to the table? Because after submission, there's nothing else, You have absolute and total control. There's no turning back after that. Then what? You give up your most prized possession, which is submission. So you are asking a woman to give you every single thing that she's got, everything that she is, everything that she ever wanted to be, everything that allows her to be. You are asking her for that. Because that is what submission is. Submission is take me, here I am, use me, do me, anything at all you want to do with me, do it. When she does that, what do you do in return? What do you do? What do you give to her that is of equal value to submission? Do you also submit, man? Will you also submit to her? No, because what? You're going to say, oh, it's in my nature to go out and sleep with that. That's innate. That's natural. So if you are not going to give up something of equal value to her, why do you think it would be okay for her to give you the most valuable thing to her? Because the most valuable thing to you as well is submission. And you're not the male. His ego alone will not allow him. And that is why certain jobs, the majority of jobs, the low-paying jobs, the factory jobs, the jobs that require almost complete submission, men do not do it. it is the women who fill most of those positions because the men are not going to be submissive. It's not within their natural grounds. So, men, I am asking that you sit down and you think before you ask a woman for the greatest thing, the one thing that is most valuable to both the male and the female autonomy, that you sit down and think what is something that you have to offer to her that is of equal value. Because if you have nothing to offer her of equal value, then you have no rights, you have no grounds in which to ask her for submission. That should be the central focus. Because that is what life revolves around. It's bartering, it's sex, it's an exchange, it's a sexual exchange. You give me something, I give you something in return. And if I give you a cow and you give me a goat for my cow, and we are both satisfied with that exchange, then we both go about our ways and we're okay. But I cannot give you a cow and you give me a bag of stones when my yard is already filled with stones, and think that's an agreeable exchange. That's a satisfactory exchange. Unless that is what we both agreed to, then no. So men, you need to consider this. You need to sit down and you need to look. Don't ask the woman for the greatest value to an individual to give to you while you give what of you of value in return.